My parents and sister abandoned my 17-year-old daughter in the desert. No water, 115 degra. She'll be fine, my mom said. She just needed space, my sister added. I didn't shout. I did this. The next morning, my daughter was safe. Then they got the call and their faces went completely pale. Let me tell you how it started, because it didn't start with a dramatic fight or some big explosion. It started with a ding, just a quiet little ping from an app on my phone while I was folding laundry. I almost ignored it. I thought it was one of those pointless updates, the kind that tell you your kid took 5 steps or reached their water goal. But this wasn't that. It was a low battery alert from my daughter's emergency smartwatch, Allison's. She's 17, a planner, the kind of girl who charges her phone at 72% just in case. So, a dying GPS signal from her. That wasn't normal. That was a red flag. I tried calling her first, straight to voicemail. Then I tried again and again and again. By the 4th call, my hands were sweating. Allison was on a weekend trip with my parents and my sister Claire. They'd asked to take the kids hiking, just a simple family getaway to Arizona. Claire's kids, Mason and Chloe, went too. Allison, being the oldest at 17, had hesitated at first. She didn't exactly have a sparkling relationship with my side of the family, but Claire had sent her a text. Let's start fresh. Just us and the kids. My mom had said something similar. Let us get to know her better. You could use a break, Rosabella. I had almost said no, almost. But Allison had looked at me and said, what if they actually mean it this time? I said yes. Now I couldn't reach her, and I had a notification telling me her watch was dying. So I did what any mother would do. I started lying to myself. Maybe there's no service. Maybe they're just out of range. Maybe she dropped the watch and it's sitting in the car. But I opened the GPS map anyway, and that's when everything inside me went cold. The dot on the map, Allison's last known location, was not near a road, not near a town, not near anything. It was a hiking trail deep in the desert, miles off the highway, surrounded by red sand, jagged rock, and a heat index that had reached 115 to go by noon. I called my mom. She picked up on the 2nd ring as if she'd been waiting. Oh, she wondered. Off a little, she said casually. She got upset over something. Said she needed space. Trace in the desert at noon. Claire chimed in next on speaker. She's being dramatic, Rosabella. You know how she is. I didn't say a word. Not a single one. I just hung up because if I kept listening, I would have said something I couldn't take back, and I didn't have time to waste on a fight. I opened my laptop, booked the earliest flight to Flagstaff. Then I pulled up an old number from my phone. We hadn't spoken in years, but once upon a time, we'd spent a long summer hiking the canyons together. Him as a wilderness survival instructor, me as the over-prepared mom on the edge of burnout. He picked up after 2 rings. I need you, I said. He didn't ask why, just asked where. At the airport, I barely remember getting through security. My hands were still shaking, but my mind wasn't. There was a kind of clarity in the panic. A dark, cold focus I hadn't felt since childbirth or maybe since my divorce. The kind of focus where you do not have the luxury of rage. You move, you act, you survive. I kept seeing her in my head. Allison with her ridiculous sun hat, her camera bag, her bottle of SPF 70. I had helped her pack 2 days ago. I made her promise to hydrate. She rolled her eyes. I hugged her twice, said I love you 3 times like a fool who thought that would protect her. By the time I landed, Louise was already waiting near the rental jeeps with extra water, an old hiking map, and a med kit. He looked at me and said, "Let's go find your kid." We reached the trailhead an hour before sunset. No cars, no other hikers, just a ranger station about a mile away that looked abandoned. I showed Luis the tracker. He frowned. "She's way off the main path," he said. "If she's not moving, that's not great." I nodded. I couldn't speak because if I opened my mouth, I would either vomit or scream. We hiked. The air felt like it was trying to peel my skin off. My boots filled with sand. My heart thudded in my ears. We passed a dried-out riverbed, a torn granola bar wrapper, and then a scarf. Allison's scarf tied to a rock like a marker. Louise picked it up. "She's trying to be found," he said. My legs nearly gave out. We kept going. At one point, I thought I saw something in the distance. A figure, a shadow. But it was nothing. Just heat playing tricks on my vision. My lips cracked. I stopped wiping the sweat off my face. Every second that passed, I thought, if I had waited an hour longer, would she still be alive? And still, not once, not for a single second, did I let myself cry. Because tears don't fix things. Movement does. We found a water bottle next, lying sideways in the dust. Louise looked at it. "Still warm," he said. "She's close." We climbed a rock ledge as the sun turned orange behind us. That's when I saw it. A flash of movement under a jagged outcrop. Something curled. I ran before Louise could say a word. And there she was, Allison. Eyes half open, lips dry, skin flushed, still wearing that stupid sun hat and alive. Barely. I dropped to my knees and pulled her into my arms. Her body was hot like a stove. She whispered something I could barely hear. "What?" I asked, brushing the dust off her cheeks. "They took my bag," she said. "On purpose." I didn't respond. Not yet. Because what she said next made something inside me snap in half. And that part of the story hasn't been told yet. Not until now. Let me tell you something about my family. We don't do open hostility. That would be too honest. We do polite cruelty. We love everyone equally with a side of, but let's talk about Claire for a moment. Claire, my younger sister, was the chosen one, the loud one, the sparkly one. She could fail a class and get a cake for trying her best. I got an age once, and my mother asked if I was distracted by boys. It wasn't violent or dramatic or obvious. That's what makes it worse. Growing up, Claire was allowed to be messy and moody and creative. I was expected to be calm and helpful and quiet. When Claire threw a tantrum at Thanksgiving, she got a warm bath and a blanket fort. When I cried, I was ruining the mood, and I believed them. For years, I really believed there was something wrong with me, something too much or not enough. But then I had Allison, and for the first time in my life, someone looked at me like I was the sun. Allison wasn't loud or soft. She was sharp. Observant. A little intimidating, if I'm honest. She asked hard questions at 5 and didn't smile just because someone told her to. She reminded me of me, but better. My parents never knew what to do with her. They tried in their own way. Bought her glitter pens and pink sweaters. She wore black hoodies and memorized state laws just in case. So, they smiled. They included her until Grandma Rose stepped in. My grandmother Rose is a terrifying woman, the kind who sharpens her own garden shears and still mails handwritten thank you notes. She's 92, and if she told a tornado to wait until she finished breakfast, it probably would. She took to Allison instantly. Finally, she said the second time they met, "Someone in this family who listens." They were close. Closer than anyone else in the family. I saw it happening, but I didn't interfere. It was the only time I saw Allison truly let her guard down. And Rose, she saw something in Allison the rest of them never bothered to look for. Last month, Rose invited me over. Tea, shortbread cookies, her will on the table between us. "Half of everything I leave behind will go to Allison," she said. "The rest will go to Claire's children. Don't argue." I didn't even speak for a full minute. I hadn't asked for this. Neither had Allison. But I knew what this would mean, and I knew it was going to burn something down. Claire found out 4 days later. Don't ask me how. My family leaks faster than a screen door in a hurricane. She called me the moment I picked up. She was already screaming. "Are you kidding me?" she shouted. "That's 3 kids against 1. Are you seriously okay with this?" "I didn't write the will," I said. "Rose did." "Well, you certainly didn't try to stop her." She hung up on me. My mother called an hour later. "You know Claire's struggling, right? Now. Her job, the kids, her marriage." "I'm not in charge of her marriage," I said flatly. "She's just scared that your daughter is manipulating Rose." That word, manipulating. Allison, who has spent her whole life scanning people's expressions for what they're not saying. Allison, who says things like, "It's fine," when she's clearly not fine, just to avoid making people uncomfortable. Manipulative. That's rich. After that, it got colder. Quietly, of course. Allison was left out of group chats. One of Claire's kids had a birthday. Everyone posted photos, except Allison wasn't in any of them, even though she was there. She came home that day and said, "Do you think they hate me?" I said, "No, I lied." Then came the sudden invitation. "Let's take the kids out to Arizona," my mom said on the phone. "A little bonding trip. No pressure. Just Claire, the cousins, us, and Allison." I asked, "Why now?" Mom said, "She's family. We should all try." Claire sent Allison a follow-up text. "Let's start fresh for real this time." Allison stared at her phone for a long time. Then she said, "What if this time is different?" I should have said no, but I wanted to believe it too. I helped her pack, made her triple-check her charger. Her SPF, her backup snacks gave her the lecture about hydration. She rolled her eyes. "You act like I'm hiking through Death Valley alone," she said. I didn't laugh. Before she left, I hugged her twice, told her I loved her 3 times. She rolled her eyes again, but she smiled a little too. Then she was gone. According to her, it happened on the 3rd day. They were hiking a dry ridge somewhere west of Flagstaff. Claire said, "Go take some pictures by the rocks up ahead. We'll wait here." So, she did. She walked ahead, camera in hand, excited, trusting. She said she turned around 10 minutes later, and the car was gone. At first, she thought maybe they'd driven around to meet her on the other side. Then she realized her bag was missing. Not her day, the one with just her phone, watch, and water. Her main bag, the one with her backup charger, her emergency GPS pin, her second water bottle, her map, her trail mix, her ID, gone. She waited. 2 hours before she stopped waiting. Then she wrote a note, slipped it in her sock just in case. My name is Allison. My family left me. My mom's number is in my camera bag. Please call her. That's what she told me at the hospital. But in that moment, on the rock, her body limp in my arms, she said something else first. They took my bag on purpose. And I knew it wasn't just neglect. It wasn't just them being careless or cruel. It was a plan. A quiet, cruel, premeditated plan. Because if something happened to Allison, they thought the will would change. They thought it would go to Claire's kids instead. They thought they could make it look like an accident, like she wandered, got lost, couldn't handle the heat. They underestimated her, they always have. And me, they forgot who raised her. I didn't scream. I didn't even call them, but I did open a folder on my phone, the one labeled just in case, because I'd been collecting receipts for longer than they realized. There's something sickening about watching your child sleep in a hospital bed, even when she's stable, even when the nurse says she's going to be okay. Because all I could think standing there with a cup of vending machine coffee and sand still stuck to my boots was how close they got. How close I came to losing her and how calm they sounded on the phone when I asked where she was. The doctor said it was heat exhaustion and moderate dehydration. Not enough to be fatal. Not this time, but enough that another couple of hours could have tipped the scale. Enough that her kidneys were talking back, and her heart was riding the edge of a rhythm line they didn't like. Louise sat with me in the hallway while they ran fluids through her IV. He didn't say much, just handed me a bottle of water and raised an eyebrow. I said, "They left her." He said, "I figured." I stared at the wall. "They took her bag." He nodded. "They wanted plausible deniability." "Do you think it'll hold up?" Louise sipped his coffee and said, "That depends. Do you want to go? Quiet or loud?" I started with quiet. I made calls, pulled every photo I had, every text, every voicemail. The camera bag Allison had stashed under the rock ledge still had her vlogging camera inside because of course it did. She's 17. She documents everything. Turns out she'd been filming when Claire told her to go check out that ridge. The clip was shaky but clear.